Welcome to Techstination. Joining us is Noah Syken, Vice President of Sports and Entertainment Partnerships at IBM. Thanks for joining us, Noah.
Hi, Fred. Thanks for having me.
Well, IBM has been involved with the U.S. Open tennis tournament, the USTA, for a very long time. This year, some new challenges for you in terms of bringing the fans to the tournament since they can't be there. Tell us what you're doing.
Yeah. So like you said, we've been partners with the USTA for about 28 years, and we've never seen a year like this, that's for sure. So as you're probably aware, in June, it was announced that fans were not going to be permitted to attend the U.S. Open, but the U.S. Open is still going to occur. So the USTA had some pretty interesting challenges. How to operate the tournament in a safe way, and also how to engage fans when fans can't come out there. And so we quickly started to work with them to figure out how to do both. And so our teams, we normally have 50 plus people, operating at the U.S. Open, and the USTA has hundreds. All of those teams are going to be operating remote, off-site from their homes, remote offices, et cetera, in order to keep the environment clean and safe for the players. And so we enabled their technical and digital infrastructure for that to happen. And that's pretty amazing to do in a little under 12 weeks. But secondarily, we also wanted to help them engage fans in more compelling ways. Some of the things that we were planning to do were actually contingent on tennis being played right up until the U.S. Open. But since there's no summer tennis, we quickly pivoted. And so we brought some of our AI capabilities to the USTA.
So how are you doing that, and what will the experience be like?
Yeah, so we have two things going on. One, we're calling Open Questions with Watson. And so we have great capabilities in natural language understanding. And more so than ever, we've been able to develop hypotheses and kind of thinking about how we can bring an unbiased view to some of those kind of prickly tennis questions or sports questions. We all know that sports thrives on debate, right? The best quarterback of all time, the best pitcher of all time. Well, we're bringing 7 fun questions to the U.S. Open fans with Chris Evert and Andy Roddick. And so we're going to seed those questions over the course of the tennis tournament. Watson has developed a hypothesis, and for those that don't know, Watson is IBM's AI. Watson's developed a hypothesis to some of those questions, things like, is Roger Federer the greatest player of all time, or was Chris Evert, Martina Navratilova the best rivalry of all time? Watson has developed a hypothesis, and fans are going to get a chance to participate in the conversation and express their opinion. And by the end of the tournament, Watson is going to kind of reframe its hypothesis using the fans' input. So hopefully thousands of people will contribute to the conversation, and through those contributions, we are going to develop a new hypothesis to the answer to those 7 questions. So that's one piece. And then secondarily, for all of the marquee matchups that are going to take place over the tournament, our AI is producing match previews, match insights. And so we've scoured over 14 million documents, and before every one of those marquee matchups, you'll be able to go to U.S. Open, the U.S. Open digital platforms, mobile apps, website, et cetera, and see the match previews generated by AI using natural language understanding. So we're really excited about that notion of being able to actually generate content using our AI.
It's going to be strange, I guess, watching these matches at the U.S. Open without the crowds there, because the crowds have been so much a part, especially of the U.S. Open tournament. Thinking back to things like Jimmy Connors and players like that, and the emotions that the fans stirred up at the tournament. Drawing the fans in is a real challenge. Tell us more about how you're going to do that.
Yeah, well, you picked up on something that's we've seen start to happen across the world of sports. This notion of crowd, fans not being able to be in stadiums or on site. Some of the different leagues are experimenting with how to use simulated crowd sounds, in order to enrich the environment for the players, broadcasters, et cetera. But at the U.S. Open, we have a pretty special way of thinking about that. So for the past 5 years, we've been creating AI-powered highlights. And so we've been listening to the crowd roar of tennis matches. We've been looking at the different positions in the match, the break points, the aces, et cetera. And we've been looking for gestures of recognition, of excitement by the players. So a fist pump or some expression of happiness or sadness. And so we've been creating those highlights for 5 years using those different inputs. But recall, sound was one of those inputs. And so we've been listening to what the sounds of a first round match sounds like, what the sound of the quarterfinals, the semis, the finals, the 25th ranked player versus the first ranked player. We've been listening and understanding those sounds for 5 years. And so now, at a time when the USTA is really craving, how do we kind of replicate and bring ambiance to the stadium or to the broadcast, we're able to turn that around and deliver to the USTA real sounds, from different points in the tournament that are not just representations, but they're the actual sounds that would have occurred in the first round, semis, quarters, et cetera. Now, the USTA is kind of contemplating how to use those, and ESPN, the broadcaster, is contemplating how to use those. But we're really excited that they were on their front foot capturing those sounds in the first place over the past 5 years, and now they have the ability to take that data, and we think about it as data. Some people think about it as sound. We think about it as data. Take that data and use it for a totally unanticipated need. So that's a pretty, exciting thing for us to be a part of as well.
So that sounds pretty wild. They're still debating how they're going to make use of the sounds, et cetera?
Yeah. It's an interesting conversation between the USTA, IBM, and ESPN. And, the broadcaster has their own take on the world. The organizers of the tournament have a, point of view. And I think, that collaboration will produce the best results.
Yeah, for viewers, I'm sure if they ever wanted to, you could probably put fans or facsimiles of fans in the seats other than the cardboard cutouts that we see in some sports. So
well, there are some plans for that as well, with digital fans in the stadium that the USTA is working on.
Really wild, but I suppose it would be something that the players themselves wouldn't see, but the home audience might be able to. So this is a real challenge, because this is not a one-day event. This goes on for 2 weeks, starting Monday.
Yeah. Tennis is one of those special events where, we have a couple weeks to kind of see how the tournament ebbs and flows, how the players react. They've been off for months here. So, you might see some special things occur over the 2 weeks, maybe some upsets, maybe some really great tennis from unexpected players. I was watching, Andy Murray the other day in a tune-up round in the Weston Southern, and, he's excited. He's excited to be playing tennis again. So I think there's a lot of pent-up enthusiasm by fans and probably the players as well. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's been a challenge for the players getting ready and being able to play at the top of their games without having as much a warm-up or other tournaments going into this, and they certainly don't want to avoid injuries and things. You're using something called IBM Garage methodology. What's that?
Yeah, so Garage methodology is really, the ability to bring great thinkers together, right? And so really locking people in a room, so to speak, and understanding the challenges that, that an organization faces and how we can quickly address them. And I think the key there is quick, right? Agility in developing potential solutions, testing potential solutions, and then iterating on those solutions very rapidly. And so the Garage methodology is kind of rapid prototyping, rapid collaboration in order to get to an end product as quickly as possible in a way that recognizes the user needs.
Tell me about the online component here. And there's an app as well, right, for fans?
Yeah, so IBM runs the official website of the US Open, usopen.com, as well as the mobile applications that you can download from your local app store. And on those platforms, you're going to see, great content, keeping everybody up to date. You're going to see match insights with Watson, those match previews that we talked about earlier. You'll be able to engage with open questions with Watson and, voice your point of view on some of those kind of prickly tennis questions. And obviously you get great scoring updates and context from the tournament that you can't get anywhere else. So it's hosted on the IBM cloud, and this year of all years, we're planning for some great demand for those platforms.
And of course, high-powered servers means something else entirely in this case, right?
Nice, Fred. I love it.
Noah Syken, thank you so much for taking the time with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Fred.
Now this. How many companies out there have continued to innovate when it comes to building a better radio? I'm Fred Fishkin, host of Techstination, and I'm here to tell you about the new CC Skywave SSB radio from the wonderful people at Crane. Bob and his crew really love radio, and it shows in this new compact model that is packed with features. Beyond great AM and FM reception and sound, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world, listen to ham radio operators, aviation, and more. It's the radio you'll turn to every day, and in emergencies. It will run for nearly 3 days on just 2 AA batteries. Pair the sleep timer with the new Soft Speaker 3, and you've got the perfect radio for your nightstand. Of course, it can wake you up too. Click on Crane at Techstination.com and put in the code Techstination for a free flashlight with your order. They love radio, and you'll love Crane.